Doug, talk us through what's going on now, and what are the chances of this bill getting through?
Tough questions. I don't know if I have clear answers to them. I'll try. Look, I don't know how many times we've stood here and I've said that the Brexit saga might be entering its end game. But if ever that were true, it might be more true today than at other times. It doesn't mean it might not drag on a lot more longer. There might not be more unexpected twists. But there is some sort of end game here. What we do know with quite a lot of certainty, not 100%, it would appear that Boris Johnson's Brexit strategy right now is lying in virtual ruins after 21 rebel Tories, that is members of his own Conservative Party, broke ranks, joined the opposition yesterday in dealing him a historic and, as you said, humiliating defeat in what was his first vote in Parliament, a vote on a motion that would pave the way for the bill that they are debating today, a bill that would essentially block the possibility of the UK crashing out of Europe with no deal come October 31st. That is, blocking the possibility of no deal. That is what they're debating today, and that sounds okay, quite easy. But there's a way to go before they get there. In order for this to pass, we know that Boris Johnson has lost his majority in Parliament. He does not have a working majority anymore. It doesn't necessarily change the calculus of this vote, but the numbers and the arithmetic look pretty daunting for him. What the MPs are trying, basically, to get through is a bill to protect Britain from what a lot of economists from a lot of businesses have been warning over the last weeks and months would be a catastrophic effect on Britain's economy if it were to go out with no deal. Some say it could really send Britain hurtling right into a recession. That's what today is about. It's going to be a vote in several rounds. There could be amendments attached, and eventually it will also go into the Lords. But it's significant because Boris Johnson is threatening to call a snap election. He is only going to do that in the eventuality that he loses this vote today, meaning losing that vote, meaning that the MPs do in fact approve legislation that would make it legally impossible for Britain to crash out without any sort of deal. It's going to get very dicey. You're going to hear a lot of arguments along the lines of what we heard this morning in Parliament when Boris Johnson took to the dispatch box and took quite a mauling from a lot of MPs who, one of them notably a Scottish one, accusing him of asking whether he's a dictator or a Democrat, accusing him of playing a game of bluff and bluster. Boris Johnson offering a lot of vagueness and lack of clarity by way of responses, not really perhaps satisfying MPs on either side of that cross-party divide, including within his own party. So expect a lot more fireworks today.
And that threat to call a general election, how would that work then?
We don't know. And I'm not trying to sit on the fence. What I mean by we don't know is we know here are the known knowns that we could put out there. We know that Boris Johnson has already tabled a motion to call a snap election, the date right now being October 15th. We do not know, though, how Labour is going to play with this. Labour has said it is only willing to vote for an early general election, to go along and vote a snap general election, if this bill blocking a no deal is passed. That is, unless Labour has the general strategy of Labour, unless Labour knows it has a 100% guarantee that Britain will not crash out of the European Union come October 31st, it is not ready to vote yet a general election. There's a lot of controversy over the date. Should the general election come before October 31st? Is Boris Johnson being coy by calling it before October 15th? He's not trusted by a lot of the opposition. They don't trust him to call the October 15th as a date and then change the date of the election, perhaps push it back to after Brexit. So there's a lot of debate over when a general election, when it should be held. The question on which there isn't debate is almost universally there seems to be an emerging consensus. A general election is coming. It's a matter of timing, and you could get into almost philosophical debates over whether it would be better, from whichever point you stand, pro-Brexit or anti-Brexit, to have it before October 31st or after. I know that was as clear as mud, Claire, but that really is as much clarity as I could give you at this hour.
I think that was very clear, considering how complicated the situation is. Thank you very much indeed, Doug.